The championship final hung in the balance. Inside a sphere of absolute silence, Ondo High's secret weapon, a sound vacuum, had dominated all season. Sora, deaf since birth, projected the field from his right hand. No opponent could shout plays, no coach could be heard. But this time, his no-look pass didn't find empty space. 2's captain jumped the lane, as if he'd read Sora's mind. On the sideline, May's hands flew through signs, the team's eyes translating Sora's silent commands. But on the opposite bench, another pair of hands moved in perfect sync. Rena, an interpreter hired by 2, was stealing every signal. The secret language had been betrayed.
Inside the 8-meter sphere, every scream, every bass drop, every clink of glasses, erased. He stood in a silent storm, the chaos outside untouched. He breathed like a person, not prey. He found a sanctuary, and a secret that could destroy any team's communication if he ever dared to play. At 17, Sora kept his silence like a second skin. He watched the Ondo High gymnasium from across the schoolyard, never stepping inside.
You come here every day. You want to play, don't you?
She signs, not shouts.
I am May. I saw you at the community center. The way you move, you have instinct.
Words I can't hear, but they've never been this clear.
The team needs someone like you. Trust me.
She pointed toward the gymnasium, the same doors Sora had walked past for 2 years without a reason to enter. If I go in, they'll see what I am, a flaw.
Is this my deafness turned inside out?
He didn't know it yet, but that accident would one day change everything and everyone.
The next afternoon, Sora stepped into the Ondo High gymnasium. The squeak of sneakers stopped. Conversations paused.
May says, "You've got talent, but you can't hear my whistle. How do you expect to run a play?"
You should try out for the basketball team. I'll translate everything plays, coaches, teammates. It'll be our secret weapon.
Sora raised his hand, not in answer, but demonstration. He'd kept this secret for himself. Now he'd share it. A cold shimmer spread from his palm. The squeaking sneakers of the practice game fell silent. The coach's shouted instruction died mid-word. This is my voice. It silences everything within 8 meters.
It's a sound vacuum. The other team won't be able to call plays or hear their coach. Sora can disrupt them completely.
That night, in the empty gym, May and Sora began creating a language built for silence. Hand signs for plays, positions, countermoves.
Trust is a language I'm still learning, but with her it feels possible.
Yet another power slept within him, the absolute silence he could unleash. That secret could wait.
The gymnasium was a wall of sound. Sora walked through it. May's hands already forming the first sign. They all think I can't play because I can't hear. Let them. May signaled Phantom Bass, a play built for silence. Sora inhaled.
Sora, they can't hear a thing. This is insane. We're in a vacuum.
The guard's cry died in the bubble. His teammates froze, mouths moving, nothing heard. Ondo High cut through the confusion. Without instructions, the defense crumbled. The final horn echoed, where Sora couldn't hear. Ondo 72-38. A blowout.
But 2's captain, Kazuya, wasn't celebrating. He replayed the footage in his dark locker room, frame by frame, searching for cracks.
May threw her arms around him, laughing. The team swarmed, but Sora's gaze found hers. They'd won more than a game. They'd announced a weapon no one understood. The league had just been put on notice. By mid-season, Ondo High was unbeaten. Sora's silent strategy became a league-wide mystery.
They never shout plays. The girl on the sideline, she's the real point guard.
Kazuya didn't watch the ball. He watched the hands, every flick of the wrist, every pointed angle.
Once May and Rena had shared everything, signs, secrets, and a promise. Now only silence remained.
May is feeding Sora plays with sign language. If you translate for me, we break them.
May and I, we know the same language. This will be easy.
Days later, Rena appeared in the stands, notepad in hand, eyes locked on May's every gesture. Her hands mirrored May's motions, translating silently for Kazuya, who watched with growing confidence.
By the day of the final, Rina sat on the two bench, clipboard in hand, ready to strike.
The stage was set. Sora's silence would become his greatest liability.
The next match was against Too High. Kazuya stood across the court, a knowing smirk on his face.
Both teams warmed up. Sora's calm stare met Kazuya's sharp challenge across the court.
Instead, Kazuya darted into Sora's passing lane before the ball arrived, stealing it cleanly.
That was predicted. He knew where I'd throw.
Rina in the stands. She's signing our signs.
May's hands froze mid-motion. She saw Rina's mocking smile, the same signs she just made.
May's face. Something's wrong. They're reading us.
Without effective communication, Ondo High's offense sputtered. To High extended their lead.
Ondo built a 10-point lead. The silent field was a fortress, and the opposing team was trapped inside.
In the locker room, silence hung heavier than any vacuum. The secret was out, and it had been turned into a weapon. Sora tried new signs after halftime. Rina adjusted almost instantly, her hands a mirror of every change.
No matter what I think of, she already knows. We're trapped in our own language.
To High's defense closed like a fist. Every pass anticipated. Every play smothered. The final horn was silent to Sora, but the scoreboard blazed. Ondo 52, 67.
That pass, they shouldn't have known. Someone is reading our signs.
I am sorry. I should have known Rina would do this. She used me against you.
It wasn't your fault, but my hands won't move. The words feel like betrayal.
Sora stared at the floor, the weight of 1,000 unheard shouts pressing down. The dream had cracked.
We can't use signs anymore. She'll always be watching. We're finished.
The weapon that made them unstoppable had become a cage, and for the first time, Sora felt truly deaf to hope.
Show me everything. How much do they rely on those signs?
May refused to give up. She researched every night, searching for a language Rina couldn't read.
That play wasn't read by accident. Someone on their bench knows our sign language.
This is it. Posture and angles. Invisible to a distant observer.
She raced to Sora, still sitting alone on the school steps.
Sora, there's a language Rina can't see. We communicate with our whole bodies.
The second half began. The team stepped onto the court, new signs in play, but uncertainty hung heavy.
Look. Shoulders turned means cut. Weight forward is screen. The silhouette decides.
She twisted and leaned, her frame painting commands in the air. A silent code of motion, ancient, unproven, impossibly difficult. But for the first time, hope flickered in the darkness.
We'll train here every night. By the championship, we'll be ready.
They can't hide their intentions. The silence makes them predictable, every glance, every gesture stolen.
In the dark, they moved like dancers. May signaling, Sora responding, building instinct.
This field was supposed to be my strength. Now it's locking us in a silent hell. Every second they take more.
If Eileen left this far, it means screen. Forward and tilt. That's pass.
Weeks passed. The first snowfall dusted the gym windows. Time was running out.
The bracket is out. We drew Toho High in the final. Rina will be there.
Last time, they read our hands. This time, they'll face the silence.
They had a language no one else knew, but it had never been tested under a stadium's weight. The championship was 1 week away. Sora stepped onto the court, the shadow signs already alive in his bones.
The coach's frantic whistle pierced the silent arena, a timeout, their last lifeline. As the team huddled, May's eyes swept the court and stopped on a cold, familiar face.
She waited for the familiar flutter of May's hands. The first play call. Nothing came. May stood still, shoulders squared, weight shifted. No fingers, only angles.
What is she doing? There's no sign. I can't translate this.
Where's the play? She should have called it by now.
Sora read May's silhouette like a second skin. A hip angle meant cut. He moved, the pass already there. Tohai's defense hesitated. Waiting for a decoded command that never came, Ando scored.
They've changed the language. I can't read body angles from here.
Sora watched from the huddle, his grey eyes tracing May's trembling frame. He couldn't hear the words, but the raw pain needed no translation.
The first quarter ended with Ando High leading. Kazuya's secret weapon had been rendered blind. Kazuya adapted, not with code, but with force. He pressed Sora full court. No sound needed.
He thinks if I can't see the play, I'll crack. But I don't need to see. I feel it.
Sora's hand snapped up. The bubble devoured Kazuya's voice mid-command. 2-0 High fell into chaos.
May's mouth moved, shouting plays to the team, but her voice couldn't reach him over the roar.
May leaned not with hands, but with her entire silhouette, an angled break. Sora cut sharply, reading the shadow. The layup tied the game at 48.
They're not using words. It's all posture. But I can still beat them.
The third quarter blurred, basket for basket. Every possession a war of instinct. May's signals became harder to read, defenders crowding her sightlines.
But as Sora caught her eye, a flicker of something, an idea born from utter desperation, passed between them. As the timeout ticked away, May stared at the floor. The arena lights carved her shadow across the polished wood, sharp, distorted, alive.
May, remember our promise. You were never good enough.
May flinched as if struck. The words found the crack she had sealed since their last meeting.
She didn't use her hands. Her whole body bent into a living signal, a language of shadow and posture born in silence.
May's posture snapped back. She angled her shoulders, a sign not of play, but of defiance. Their eyes met across the silent distance. No sound needed. They would not break.
That's it? They won't shake? Then I'll stop them myself.
Rena slumped back, her last card played. The shadow language was still indecipherable. 30 seconds left. The scoreboard glared. 78 all.
2 minutes left. The silent field shimmered. A new language waited in the light, ready to speak where none could hear.
Sora dribbled up the court, the weight of the game in his hands. His eyes flicked to the sideline.
Sora's eyes caught the shadow and understood. He feigned right, then fired a no-look pass to Daiki, cutting precisely where the shadow had aimed.
That's the Phantom Weave. No one else knows this play.
A subtle nod sealed their gamble across the roaring silence.
What is that? A new stance? It means something.
Next possession, May's shadow crouched, one arm stretched back like a drawn bow. A fast break signal aimed at the rim.
Sora swung the ball to a cutting teammate. Kazuya lunged, but the pattern shifted beyond his reach. The Phantom Weave, a play where the ball found lanes no voice could call, and no eyes could predict. Sora received the return pass, the defense scrambling. His vision narrowed to the rim. 20 seconds remained. The weave was alive. The silence was absolute.
Kazuya snarled, signing to his team, blind the shadow. A defender peeled off and stood directly in the beam of a sideline spotlight.
Every vibration, every heartbeat. I am not just playing, I am conducting.
Kazuya's eyes widened, his shouts died, his gestures frantic. The vacuum had stripped him of command.
I can't even hear myself think. Where is he?
A silent screen materialized, a teammate's angled body, forming the last barrier. Sora slipped past.
The shadow is dead, but May is still there. Her body still moves. I can read her, not the shadow.
10 seconds on the clock. Sora stood alone at the arc. The defense scattered like startled birds. The stadium held its breath, not knowing stillness from silence.
They can't hear me. They can't stop me. This is the silence I was born for.
Sora rose. The ball lifted from his palm, the arc yet unknown. The clock froze at 4.2 seconds. The ball was already in flight, but Sora's hand didn't drop.
May slid to the far sideline, away from the blocked spotlight. Her shadow was gone, but her body became the signal.
It climbed the bleachers. The roar of 2,000 voices died in a single, terrifying instant. The referee's arm came down to blow a whistle, but no sound escaped. He stared at the metal in his hand, bewildered. The stadium became a giant, silent snow globe. Sora hung in the air, the ball a frozen star above him.
No crowd, no whistle, no footsteps. Just the rim and the ball.
Kazuya's blackout block stretched out, inches from Sora's wrist. But in the vacuum, it felt like miles. Time obeyed no one. The ball arced, slow and inevitable, through the soundless air.
7 seconds left. The bubble shimmered, holding its breath.
The clock still ticked, 3.8 seconds. But inside the vacuum, the only heartbeat was the canvas of the net. Sora's feet touched the hardwood, but his soul stayed suspended, tethered to the turning ball. May's hands pressed against her chest. No sign, just a prayer encoded in stillness. Kazuya's block had missed. He twisted mid-air, face contorted in silent disbelief. The ball spun against the void, a tiny planet with its own perfect gravity.
I've never heard a swish, but I'll feel it.
Sora accelerated into the open space, a lane carved by pure trust. The entire 2 defense scrambled, having read the wrong sign.
The clock bled, 2.1 seconds. The ball reached the peak of its curve, a pause in the physics.
Breathe. The world can't hear me, but I can hear this.
The ball began its fall, carving a silent seam through the nothingness. Kazuya could only watch. The undisputed had become the spectator.
The ball kissed the net, a silent whisper through the nylon. The backboard lights erupted in a blaze of red.
The horn lights blinked, a silent execution. The vacuum collapsed inward, a rushing tide in reverse. Sound crashed back like a tidal wave. Roars, sobs, the referee's belated whistle, all at once.
The floor shakes, the lights scream, but I hear nothing, just the echo of a made shot.
The scoreboard snapped. Ondo High 80, Tuo High 78, a 2-point chasm carved from silence. Teammates tackled Sora, their shouts invisible to him, but their weight real.
They cheer a victory I can't hear, but I feel every hand, every heartbeat.
Daiki reached Sora first, his mouth wide in a scream that only Sora couldn't hear, but felt in the pounding of fists on his back.
We won. The weave, the shadow, it all worked.
Sora raised his fist, the same that silenced a stadium, and opened it, palm up, a quiet offering of thanks. The press room buzzed with unanswered questions. Sora sat behind a table, May at his side, a wall of microphones between them and the world. A reporter leaned in. Sora, what exactly happened in those final seconds? No one could hear anything, not even the whistle.
He says, I muted the entire stadium. My ability creates a sound vacuum. Within that bubble, everything is silent.
He says I was born into silence, so I made it my home. Tonight, I shared that home with everyone, and they finally listened.
A murmur swept the room. The reporters wrote frantically. Sound, vacuum, shadow language. The phrases leaped onto screens, out into the world.
They're finally hearing me, in the only way I can speak.
By nightfall, Number Silent Field was trending worldwide. Clips of the silent last seconds, replayed endlessly. Commentators called it the play no voice could call.
Sora, look. They're not calling you a freak. They're calling you a pioneer. The story is changing.
Pioneer. I never wanted to change the game. I just wanted to be in it.
A new chapter waited on the horizon. But first, there was a promise to keep to the others born into the same quiet world.
A few months after the championship, Sora and May launched Liga Silenciosa, a program to find and train deaf basketball players.
We're looking for players who can't rely on sound, but can master a language no one else sees.
One young girl with a cochlear implant stepped forward, her hands trembling with a question.
Sora knelt beside a young boy struggling to dribble. Gently, he adjusted the child's hands, then signed, "Trust your body."
Sora nodded and signed simply, "Watch me." He activated his vacuum, silencing the gym. The recruits stared, then began to understand.
Every one of you has a language no opponent can steal. We're going to build a team, the first all-deaf professional club in Japan.
They look just like I did, wondering if the game has room for us. It does now.
They named themselves the Silent Generation, donning jerseys with the crossed-out sound symbol.
Sora and May stood at the sideline, watching the next chapter write itself in the squeak of sneakers and the silent rhythm of sign language.
The first all-deaf professional team existed not as a concept, but as a reality, standing under the same rafters where Sora once stood alone. The stands were quiet, not from a vacuum, but from a new kind of respect. The Silent Generation took the court for their first exhibition game. On the sideline, Sora stood not as a player, but as a coach, his arms crossed, a subtle pride in his calm silver eyes. The young point guard leaned her shoulders, a shadow sign for screen. The forward shifted weight, a pass. No sound, no chaos. The ball swished through the net, a sound most crowds roar for, but here, the applause was hands raised in silent celebration.
They don't need to hear to communicate. A language is in their bones now.
They're playing our weave, Sora. The same one that won the championship.
Sora didn't sign back. He simply watched, the ultimate answer to every question the world had ever shouted at him.
The shadow language was taught in workshops, a choreography of trust. It was no longer a weapon, it was a bridge.
It's only the beginning.
Sora turned to the now empty gym, his hearing aid catching the hum of the lights. Not silence, just a world finally turning his way. Years later, a living room glowed with a basketball broadcast. On screen, Sora, now a commentator, signed analysis with the same calm hands that once silenced a stadium. The girl, a deaf child with a cochlear implant, pressed closer to the screen, her small hands tracing his gestures.
She gave me more than a voice. She gave me a mirror to see my own language as a gift, not a burden.
Behind them, the court was still marked with the faint outlines of shadows, a language they had painted with light and trust.
Her mother smiled, eyes glistening, and signed back. You can. The camera pulled back, revealing the room was a shrine to a dream. Posters of the Silent Generation, a signed basketball, a crossed-out sound symbol painted on the wall. The legacy wasn't in the trophies or headlines. It was in the silent conversation between a mother and daughter who knew they belonged. The television showed a replay of the final championship shot, the ball dropping through a net no one heard. She whispered, a sound she couldn't hear. I'll be like Sora.
His story was just beginning, and the world was finally listening in silence. The next day, the stadium was alive with motion. Fans raised not their voices, but their hands, signing the names of players they'd never hear.
Inside, Sora stepped onto the polished court, his footsteps the only sound. May walked beside him, her presence his constant echo. At center court, a bronze plaque gleamed. Here, silence became strength.
The world that once excluded me now holds its breath in my name.
He looked up at the rafters. Banners of champions, but also a new flag, the Silent Generation's crossed-out sound symbol.
I was born into silence. I built a world inside it, and now the world has stepped in with me.
Sora faced the empty arena, raised his hands, and signed two words that had waited 17 years. Thank you. The silence answered, not with emptiness, but with the fullness of every life he had changed.
He muted the entire stadium, and in that silence the world finally heard itself.
Text, the Silent Generation continues.